Okay, Surds, second lesson we're going to do. You must do the first lesson on Sunday because you need to know how to simplify Surds. Again, I would ask you to do this, but it's just nice to have this table here of all your square numbers. You need to go up to 15, but for the sake of this lesson, all you have to do is go up to 12. Okay? Just nice to have that in front of you. And if this was your exam, I would be inclined to write out your square numbers because sometimes you might miss one. Right, let's say you get the first one. So calculate 3 square root 2 plus 5 square root 2. Now, essentially similar to simplifying. Okay. Now, looking at this does scare people. If I said 3a plus 5a, that's a lot easier, isn't it? Because that's 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8a. And all it is, in this situation here, a happens to be the square root of 2. So 3 plus 5 happens to be 8 square root 2. And we can only do this when the square root is the same. Now let's look at the second one too. Square root 8, square root 8, square root 8. Now if you're mildly arrogant, you'd say that's 3 square root 8. Okay? If you're a bit smarter, you might look at the square root 8 and you might think, well, hang on a minute, I can simplify that. And this is one of the main reasons why we simplify surds, because it makes adding surds a lot easier. Now you could simplify them at the start or at the end in this situation, but I would always do it at the start, because when you get to question like number question 4, yeah, we have to simplify at the start. So let's do it a long way. Square root of 8. Is there a square number that goes into the square root of 8? Look at your list. You should realise this is square root of 4 times the square root of 2. So the square root of 8 can be written as 2 square root of 2. I don't know what's coming out. So this is 2 square root of 2 plus 2 square root of 2 plus 2 square root of 2. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my answer there is going to be 6 square root of 2. Okay. Right, I'm just going to erase the things on the slide here. Right, square root of 75 plus square root of 75. Same rules apply. Let's simplify it first. So is there a square number that goes into the square root of 75? Now, 25 is a square number and it goes into it. So it's going to be square root of 25 times the square root of 3. So this is going to be 5 root 3. So if I rewrite this question, I've got 5 root 3 plus 5 root 3. 5 plus 5 is 10. So my answer is going to be 10 root 3. Okay, good. Right, it gets a little bit harder now. Now all we've got to do is simplify each one of these. So let's start with the square root of 150. Now, is there a square number that goes into 150? Now, there might be a few, but I know 25 is a pretty large number, and that definitely goes into 150. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So square root of 25 times the square root of 6, because 6 times 25 is 150. So I can rewrite that as 5 root 6. Square root of 25 is 5. Now we've got to look at the 24s now. Okay, so the square root of 24. Now I'll be honest, there's a 6 here, so it's going to be a 6. But is there a square number that goes into 24? I know 4 goes into it, yeah, so I'm just going to do 4. So the square root of 4 times the square root of 6. Oh look, there's a square root of 6 here. So square root of 24 can be written as 2 root 6. Okay, so I can rewrite this question really as 5 root 6 plus 2 root 6 plus 2 root 6 again. So I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my answer is now going to be 9 root 6. Okay. Next one, root 32 plus root 50 plus root 50. Now pause the video and try and work this out, please. But let's simplify the square root of 32. Okay, is there a square number that goes into square root of 32? 4 does, and you can work with the square root of 4, but then look at the surd and try and simplify it again. I'm actually going to go with the square root of 16. So I really want the biggest one. And that's going to be times by the square root of 2. Square root of 16 is 4, so it's going to be 4 root 2. Okay, so square root of 32 can be written as 4 root 2. 50, so let's do the square root of 50. I know that can be written as the square root of 25 times the square root of 2. Square root of 25 is 5, so that's 5 root 2. So I can write this as 5 root 2 and 5 root 2 again. So I've got 5, 10, 14, so I can write my answer there is going to be 14 root 2. And it just makes things a lot easier. Let's do the last one. Okay, so let's do 125. Square root, is there a square number that goes into it? You've got 25 at the end, so that's a massive clue. So root 25 times 5, root 5, sorry, which means root of 125 is 5 root 5. And don't think you can just type this into a calculator, because these questions will come up in a non-calculator paper. Square root of 20. Okay. That can be rewritten as the square root of, well, 4 goes into it, and that's a square number, times the square root of 5, so 2 root 5. So this sum, I can write it as 5 root 5 plus 2 root 5 plus 2 root 5. So I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So my answer is going to be 9 root 5. So the key point of this is simplify first and then add up all the ones that have the same roots. If you get a question that has different roots, you can't add them together. Same as if you had a question that had A's and B's, you can't add A's and B's together. Right, so here you are. The ones on the left are slightly easier because there's 2 of them. The ones on the right are a little bit harder because there's 3 of them. Work your way through the questions, please. Pause the video if you want. I'm not going to show you the answers, but put them into your calculator. Your calculator will tell you the answer straight away. Right, expanding double brackets. I hope that you can all do this, but let's do it a long way. X times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 4 is 12. You can normally always put the 2 middle terms together. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, so the answer is 7x. Okay, this should not be new to anybody. Okay. No, I can't bother, it's too easy. Now this one here. Exactly the same rules apply. Okay, so I'll do this like that. So 1 times 3 is 3. Good. And I do 1 times the square root of 2. Don't be fazed by it, it's just the square root of 2. Then I'll move on to the other square root of 2. Okay, so I'm going to do the square root of 2 times 3, which is just 3 root 2. Nothing complicated going on there. Now the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, I'm going to do this a long way, is the square root of 4. Now when you see a square root of 4, you should look at that and think, hang on a minute, 4 is a square number, so I'm actually going to replace that with 2. And then you see what I can add together. I've got a whole number 3 and a whole number 2. I can add that together to make 5. And I've got a couple of root 2's. So I've got 3 root 2 and 1 root 2, which makes it 4 root 2. And that's this number simplified. So same as expanded brackets, we just got surds to make it a little bit harder. Okay, and sometimes your answers are really nice and you have to just get a whole number and all your surds cancel out. Let's try another one. I recommend you to actually pause this to try it. Make it a little bit bigger. Right, same rules apply. Root 3 times root 3, I'm going to write as root 9, because 3 times 3 is 9. Root 3 times root 7 is going to be plus the square root of 21. Now this is a negative root 7 now, so negative root 7 times root 3 is actually a negative of square root of 21. And root 7 times root 7, so that is a minus, it's going to be a negative square root of 49. Now, as before, you should notice 49 is a square number, so I can now change that to 7. And actually, same with this 9, I can actually change that to 3. So if I put these together, 3 plus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, I've got 10. And if I've got a positive root 21 and a negative root 21, these must cancel out. So my answer is 10. Good. Right. Last one I'm going to show you. So there's a lot to it. So I've got 3 root 2 times 3 root 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the whole numbers first, which is 3 times 3, which is 9. And root 2 times root 3 is root 6. Okay. This is a minus. So 3 times 2 is 6 again. And root 2 times root 2 is root 4. And I'll deal with stuff like that later. Now I'm going to move on to this whole number 3. 3 times 3 root 3 is just going to be 9 root 3. So I'm just doing 3 times 3, and that's really like, well, I don't care about square roots really. And the 3 times a negative 2 is just going to be negative 6 root 2. Now see if there's anything I can do. This actually root 4, actually I can change that to actually make that times by 2, and 6 times 2 is 12. And I don't actually have anything else that can go together. Now my square root of 6, check to see if it can be simplified. It can't be. So my answer is actually just going to be 9 root 6 minus 12 plus 9 root 3 minus 6 root 2. And that's it. That's just my answer there. It looks messy, but that's my answer. Okay, Here's questions, easy, medium, hard. I recommend you do the harder ones. Yeah. If you type them into your calculator, be careful when you are typing these into your calculator. It'll give you the answer straight away, but obviously these will come up on the calculator paper. Pause the video, do the questions. And here's your answers.